Very unsettling, very disturbing to have our students subjected to this.
The series of bomb threats at HBCUs across the country continued today, and now several in the Magnolia State are assessing threats. The latest on those threats coming up.
By the end of today, medical marijuana will either be the law of the land in Mississippi or back in the state legislature. The details on where the bill stands are straight ahead.
And but I intend to make this decision and get it to my colleagues by the end of the month. That's my hope.
The president's search for a Supreme Court nominee is underway, and both he and Senate Democrats are hoping to make nomination a quick process. We'll break down the details of the search. NewsWatch Ole Miss starts now.
Good evening and welcome to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Olivia Wright.
And I'm Leah Blevins. The Oxford Board of Aldermen are holding their regular board meeting as we speak. Among other issues being discussed, the aldermen will consider an agreement for the transfer of service and dissolution of Pumpkin Water Association Incorporated. Other potential changes being discussed include renaming 2 prominent roadways to honor 2 African American community leaders. The board will consider renaming Highway 30 after Nathan Hodges Jr. and Highway 334 in honor of Leonard E. Thompson for their services to the city of Oxford and its residents.
Yesterday, we told you about a rash of bomb threats at several historically black colleges and universities, otherwise known as HBCUs, across the country. Those threats continued last night and into today, this time targeting several institutions in Mississippi. The first threat in the Magnolia State came last night at Jackson State University, Alcorn State University, Tougaloo University, Mississippi Valley State University, and Rust College also received threats. Due to these threats, they will be returning to either online learning or locking down their campuses for an extended period of time in order to ensure that the campuses are safe. There are now over a dozen similar threats across the country in the last 2 days, and officials are still investigating to see if they are connected.
In Jackson, Mississippi, lawmakers are seeing a renewed push to revise Mississippi's current hate crime law. The current hate crime law includes an enhanced penalty for any felony or misdemeanor if it was done with a bias that includes several factors. However, some groups are left out of this protection as of now, including the LGBTQ+ community and those with disabilities. Among those pushing for revisions to the law is Dr. Scott Crawford with the Mississippi Coalition for Citizens with Disabilities, who is quoted saying, "We cannot tolerate hate in our state. We are better than that, or we should be." Today is the deadline for House Bill 1467 to be passed out of the House Judiciary B Committee. We will keep you up to date on its progress as we learn more.
Staying at the state capitol, today is Governor Reeves' last chance to act on the medical marijuana bill. According to Mississippi law, bills cannot sit on the governor's desk for 5 days after they are passed, excluding Sundays, before it becomes a law without a signature. Today marks day 5, meaning that unless Reeves signs or vetoes the bill at the last minute, it will go into law without his signature. Reeves refused to say what he would do after the bill passed, but he has fought for the amount of marijuana available to patients to be reduced below the 3 ounces per month that it allows.
In other health-related news, Mississippi's new coronavirus cases are still struggling to drop from the most recent spike. The Department of Health reported 4,249 new cases and 109 new COVID-19 related deaths in the state as of yesterday. Here on campus, there are 91 active cases and only 2 new cases. There are 72 active student cases, 14 active staff cases, and 5 active faculty cases. Today, Mississippi is mourning the 11th pediatric death due to COVID-19. The child was between the ages of 1 and 5. Of the 11 deaths, 1 child was under the age of 1, 3 children were between 1 and 5, 1 child was between 6 and 10, and 6 children were between 11 and 17. Children 5 years and up are eligible to receive a COVID vaccination.
While children below the age of 5 don't have a vaccine option now, an option could be coming their way within months. Pfizer is now pushing for its vaccine to be available to children as young as 6 months. CNN's Mary Maloney has a closer look.
The light at the end of the COVID tunnel could be getting brighter for the millions of parents of young children in the United States.
These are the kids who are the most difficult to mask, who suffer the most from being isolated, but who are still at risk of COVID.
Pfizer is expected to seek emergency use authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for a 2-dose COVID-19 vaccine regimen for children ages 6 months up to 5 years as early as Tuesday, according to a person familiar with the company's plan. Dr. Paul Offit, who's been serving as a member of the FDA Vaccine Advisory Committee, says he anticipates they will look at the data on February 15th.
We want to make sure that this vaccine is safe, that there's robust data that it's safe, that there's robust data that it's effective and consistently immunogenic.
This comes following a December announcement from the drug maker that 2 child-sized doses of the vaccine did not provide the expected immunity in 2 to 5-year-olds, and that it was extending the trial to add a 3rd shot.
2 doses could do that. Getting 2 doses into a child can provide baseline immunity that protects them from severe disease, from hospitalization.
Gottlieb says if the 2-dose regimen is submitted, authorization from the FDA could be granted and shots delivered to the tiniest arms by early March.
Getting those vaccines in arms is a critical part of helping both to prevent COVID among little kids and helping to move us all a little bit closer back to normal.
In Washington, I'm Mary Maloney.
A new survey shows that 3 in 10 parents of young children want to have their children vaccinated once it is made available.
Baptist Ambulance has begun its new plan to increase emergency response in Oxford and Lafayette County. The company is set to provide 6 ambulances running Monday through Friday and 3 throughout the entire week in exchange for 100% priority over 911 calls. Baptist will also provide a vehicle tracker allowing 911 dispatchers to track all ambulance units in real time and programs to update the 911 system. To monitor operations further and keep an air of transparency, Baptist Ambulance, Lafayette County, and the City of Oxford will create a committee that will keep up to date on the service's performance and response times. The first committee meeting is projected to be held at the end of February.
One of the contributing factors to the rise in emergency calls is a growing accidental overdose problem. Oxford saw record overdose numbers last year, and it isn't alone. It follows a tragic national trend, and it's hitting teens the hardest. CNN's Mandy Gaither has a deep dive into the overdose crisis.
The unintentional drug overdose epidemic continues to sweep across the U.S. Up until now, researchers say much of the focus has been on adults battling addiction.
The problem of drug overdose amongst adolescents and young people has been overlooked.
That's the motivation behind this study published in JAMA Pediatrics. Researchers wanted to understand the impact of unintentional overdoses on young people.
So we counted years of life lost, which is just the number of years adolescents and young people would have had they had full lives.
Study co-author Dr. Trent Hall with Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center says the results were shocking. Looking at CDC unintentional overdose data from 2015 through 2019, the study says those between the ages of 10 and 19 have lost about 200,000 years of life. If the data is expanded to include people up to 24 years of age, there was a loss of about 1.25 million years of life.
We really need to do something about this. It's clear that there's a mortality crisis amongst adolescents and young people in the U.S. due to overdose.
But Hall says many of the health interventions aimed at adults may be inadequate for younger Americans. That's why he says parents and teachers need to know the signs of substance use, talk about the risks, and consider getting a Narcan kit, which can help save a life if there's an overdose. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The best way to get a Narcan kit is by talking to your pharmacist or healthcare provider. They are available in some fraternity and sorority houses right here on campus.
President Biden's search for a Supreme Court nominee is underway, but his repeated verbal commitment to making sure his nominee is a black woman is drawing criticism from some Republican senators. We'll hear from them coming up. But first, here's a look at your current conditions.
Each year, hurricanes and major flooding threaten cities, towns, and rural homes across the Gulf states. So chances are there will be more storms and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Yeah, Sam, Elmo.
Oh, hey, Julia. Are you ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's going to play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
Mm-hmm. With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Where's your emergency?
Everyone's on their way. What happened? She's dead? Yes, please get my mom and dad. Oh my God!
Tensions remain high between Russia and Ukraine as the United States and its allies continue to search for a peaceful resolution. Russian President Vladimir Putin said today that the United States and NATO are ignoring his country's security concerns, saying that NATO deceived Russia and again voiced his opposition to Ukraine's NATO membership. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Russia's foreign minister today, and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is in Ukraine meeting with its president to discuss solutions.
In Washington, President Biden's search for a Supreme Court's nominee is off and running. The president hopes to have a nominee going through the confirmation process by the end of the month. He also continues to state his commitment to appointing the first black woman to the Supreme Court, a promise he first made on the campaign trail. That commitment is drawing some criticism from Republicans who say that the president seems to be filling a quota rather than looking for the best candidate for the job.
I do not think the president handled this as well as he could have.
When Biden starts out by saying he has a quota system, he diminishes the achievements of those African American women.
Mississippi Republican Senator Roger Wicker joined the criticism on Super Talk Mississippi yesterday when he said that Biden would be filling a quota and criticized some Republican voters, saying that they will have 30 years of a left-wing judge as a result of not voting for Donald Trump in 2020 because they disliked his personality.
While the president looks to fill that job opening, many other Americans are leaving theirs. More Americans than ever before said goodbye to the 9-to-5 grind last year. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 4.3 million Americans quit their jobs in December. This number is even down from November's record of 4.5 million. Experts say this great resignation is a result of a combination of issues, including better pay or benefits, early retirement thanks to financial security provided by the surging stock market, and a need to care for children or elderly relatives during the pandemic. Now employers are left with close to 11 million vacant jobs to fill.
Among those companies looking to fill vaccines is Home Depot, and it wants to fill openings quickly. The company is now trying to speed up its hiring process as much as possible as the pandemic has left for the major retailer in a staffing shortage. Applicants are more than likely to receive an offer after only 1 day of submitting the application, with many more benefits besides pay. The goal is to have hired more than 100,000 employees before the busy spring season approaches.
Retailers aren't the only businesses struggling to recover. Grabbing a bite to eat will never be the same as it was prior to March 2020. But that may not be all bad. The National Restaurant Association released its 2020 State of the Restaurant Industry report, forecasting $898 billion in sales in 2022. That's $34 billion more dollars than 2019. Experts believe this year is the start of a new normal, with emerging technology and changes in consumer behavior and dining preference. Despite the positive outlook, only 25% of restaurant operators believe their restaurant will be more profitable this year. They say they are facing several challenges, including finding and keeping employees, rising costs, supply chain issues, and a smaller consumer base.
And coming up next in sports, NFL great Tom Brady has officially announced his retirement from the NFL. And Shakira Austin continues to garner national attention. Find out which award she's in the running for up next in sports.
I am a nurse,
a firefighter, a college student,
a mother, and I am an American soldier.
I will always be ready
for every storm and disaster that threatens my community. I will always be there to protect my neighbors,
my family,
and my country.
We are the Army National Guard.
We are the Army National Guard.
We are the Army National Guard.
Visit nationalguard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
I just found out my work party is a +1. You want to go? This is my boss, Ella.
Nice to meet you, Greg.
You're welcome. Nope, I'm high. But I'll clean the kitchen while you're gone.
You're already making good decisions when you're high.
Pool party at Jesse's. Can you drive? I'm toasted.
Nope, I'm high. But I can order us a ride.
Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive different.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
After a few days of swirling rumors, it is official. Quarterback Tom Brady announced his retirement today via social media after 22 NFL seasons with the New England Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brady was the 199th overall pick in the 2000 NFL Draft by the Patriots, and he went on to win 6 Super Bowls with them. After a long tenure of success with the Patriots, Tom joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and won another Super Bowl. Brady retires as the NFL's all-time leader in passing yards, passing touchdowns, and Super Bowl rings. He said that his favorite moment of his career was the Patriots' dramatic victory over the Seahawks in Super Bowl 49. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell described Brady as a player who always rose to the occasion and made those around him better. Tom Brady was an inspiration to people all around the world, and football fans will dearly miss watching him play on Sundays. And keeping things on the gridiron, Rebel football coach Lane Kiffin has deemed himself the Portal King after landing yet another big signing. Yesterday, Ole Miss added former Georgia Tech defensive end Jared Ivey to an already impressive group of new players acquired via the transfer portal. With this signing, Ole Miss's transfer class moves up to number 2 in the national rankings. The newly acquired player stirring up the most excitement among Rebel fans is former USC quarterback Jackson Dart. Dart is a highly touted prospect who will most likely start from day one. Ole Miss also landed former USC tight end Michael Trigg and former 5-star recruit and TCU running back Zach Evans. Despite losing some key players from last season, the Rebels are stacking the depth chart in preparation for another successful season. Be on the lookout for this team to make some noise in the SEC. And dribbling things over to the hardwood, the Rebel women's basketball team stayed in the poll this week, coming in at number 25 in the AP national rankings. From mid-November to early January, the team went on a tear, compiling 13 wins in a row, the third longest streak in program history. The Rebels currently sit tied for third in the SEC standings, and they already have victories over ranked opponents South Florida and Kentucky this season. The team will head to Missouri for their next matchup this Thursday. Tip-off is set for 6 p.m. And Ole Miss center Shakira Austin added to her already impressive list of accolades today. The senior was named to the John R. Wooden Award late season top 20 watch list. The list is made up of the front-runners for the All-American Team and Most Outstanding Player Award. Austin's play this season has been phenomenal. She averages 14.4 points and 8.6 rebounds per game, and she is the leader of her team during this historic campaign. The Wooden Award All-American Team will be revealed during the week of the Elite 8 round of the NCAA tournament in April, and the winner of the Most Outstanding Player Award will be presented after the tournament. And ending things off on the tennis court, the 18th ranked men's squad will not face Alcorn State today due to some unforeseen circumstances that prevented Alcorn State's trip to Oxford today. The undefeated Rebels will now host the Braves tomorrow in a doubleheader that will get underway at 1 p.m. Ole Miss enters this match in great form. They are fresh off a win against number 22 Oklahoma, and they qualified for the ITA National Indoor Championships. Their opponent will be announced on February 15th. And that's all I've got for sports. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at rebel_watch for the latest sports updates.
Thanks, Carson. Menu hacks have been spread by word of mouth for years, but now McDonald's is spreading them themselves. Find out what special menu items they'll mash together for you coming up.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Anytime they're playing music downstairs, it's loud. I go downstairs, see what they're doing, see what music they're doing, see what they're dancing to. I go play piano downstairs, they come get involved. Leah has a drum set beside it, banging that. Any music, that's what they do.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
If you're craving McDonald's but a standard menu item sounds boring, the fast food giant has your answer with their newly released menu hacks, which allow you to mix and match classic items.
If you're going for breakfast, you can get a hash brown McMuffin in case you felt like a normal sausage McMuffin needed a crunch. Then there are the lunch options, the surf and turf, the crunchy double, and the land, air, and sea, which is a Big Mac plus a filet o fish and McChicken.
The surf and turf is only available on the app, and all offers are there for a limited time only. I have to admit to you guys, I am a frequent flyer to the McDonald's app, but I don't think any of these secret menu items are for me. How about you guys?
I'll probably try the Egg McMuffin because I do like McDonald's breakfast a lot, but the other stuff, I don't think so.
That's probably the only one I'll be willing to try.
Very fair. Well, if any of you tried the surf and turf, let us know how it is. Don't think we'll be partaking, but that is all for tonight. For NewsWatch Ole Miss, I'm Leah Blevins.
And I'm Olivia Wright. Make sure to follow us on social media at NewsWatch Ole Miss for the latest updates on Ole Miss and beyond.
Thank you and good night.